pieces of housekeeping, Albie. By the way, just so you know, my hair, this new hair style this is what you wanted, everybody who complained and made sport of me and mocked me last night. So I took measures to ameliorate the problem, and I hope I've done it. I hope everybody's happy that they got so much joy out of my...
I think you look like Jason Momoa.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Shirtless, you mean? Else?
Yeah.
But so there's that. There's that. Let's put that aside.
Mike in the chat says you have Riff Raff's hairstyle.
Who is Riff Raff?
I don't know.
Do you know?
If I had to guess, well,
Riff Raff. Is he in the Insane Clown Posse? Riff Raff, American rapper. Oh, he looks good. He's a good, handsome man. Yeah.
There you go. See?
There we go. This is a hit, Alice.
Already popular.
Okay. The other thing, there was actually two different... Oh, yeah. This is how Alice Shattuck tries to destroy my night by double teaming me with silverbacks looking to sexually assault me. She gives me her dry cleaning slip and said, you have to get my dry cleaning. Whoop, whoop.
I didn't say that.
Yes.
They just called me because I haven't picked it up.
Okay.
Which is embarrassing.
And this is fantastic. So I'm shocked that she had the slip. I thought that would be the first thing. So I go.
So I already exceeded expectations.
So I go to
you go.
I go to the dry cleaning place. I'm dropping kids off all over the world today. I'm driving all over the place, skiing and this and that. Then go to the dump. I'm all over the place. Making hamburger. He says, "How was your hamburger?"
It was awesome.
I think it would be pretty good.
I also had half of Peanuts and half of Anson's. So I really had 2 hamburgers.
Cheeseburgers. Obviously, I don't think you should have to even say cheeseburger anymore.
Yeah. Cheese should be included with a hamburger.
Only a psychotic communist.
Or if you're keeping kosher. I mean, I guess.
No, that is, you switch religions if you can't have a cheeseburger. So I go to the dry cleaner,
mm-hmm.
and it says in the counter, checks are cash only. And I'm like, Alice didn't remember whether she had paid yet.
I did,
frig.
But I don't know.
Frig. And the lady gets up and I said, I hope she's, I think hopefully she's paid for it already. And the lady's looking through her little card catalog there of the slips, and she said, "Oh, okay, here it is, and it's $39."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "I said, is it all paid for?" She said, "No." And I said, "Okay, and this line's correct, right? Just checks or cash." And she said, "Yep." And I said, "Ugh." And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go drive to the."
You're so embarrassing.
I said, "I'm gonna go drive to the."
Which is like 30 seconds away from the dry cleaner.
I'm gonna go drive to the TD Bank and get some cash. So I go to the TD Bank. I park in a handicap space because the best space to ever park in that TD Bank in Groveland, as you all know, was just a normal space, and they changed it to a handicap space. And F you. I don't care who's there. I don't care.
There was already a handicap space right next to it, by the way.
Right.
And now they're both handicap spaces.
Yeah, no.
Which is not fair.
I don't care.
Nobody was ever in the handicap space.
Yeah.
And now they took the other space. It's not fair.
Park in the back and use your walker as good as you can and get to there, because I'm not giving up that space for anybody ever. So I get to the TD Bank, the bank thing, and it says I'm on fast cash or whatever, right? So it says I can't get $40 because the thing's $39, so I have to get $50. And so I can't. They don't let you get $40. You have to get $50. You can get like $10, $20, or $50.
Why can't you get 40?
So they don't give you the choice to get 40. It's not a choice. So I say fine.
Pretty sure you could type in 40 if you really wanted to.
I say fine. This is a fast cash option. So I say fine. I'll take the change. The other, it'll give me 2 20s and a 10. And when I'll take the 10 and buy the kid something with it, whatever. Now this is the loudest audible noise of disdain I've ever made. The thing spits me out a $50 bill, and I went, oh! And there's people inside the bank, so they must have been like, "What did this happen? Did the guy did somebody leave the bear trap
shot in the Groveland TD Bank?"
Oh, and I was like, "Oh, what a $50 bill. There's nothing, no bigger fu."
Doesn't it let you pick what bill types you
No, dude. Yes, it does, but 40 is not one of them. So
okay, I never have this problem at that age.
Okay.
I not only am allowed to choose my amount.
Well, this is just my
I'm
first
allowed
time
to
at an
choose my
ATM, Alice. I haven't
bills.
been using them since 1988.
I don't think you know how to use them.
So I say fine, and now I'm getting myself angry because I'm saying to myself, if she tells me that they don't have change for $50, I am asking for my money back. I'm going to ask for my slip back, and I'm going to slam it on Alice Shattuck's desk and say, "This is all effing you, dude." But anyway, she actually did take the thing back. So that you're in trouble for that.
I didn't.
The third thing is that Steve from Merrimack has a KMS VIP ticket that he's trying to give to somebody if somebody can go to the show. He doesn't want to eat the ticket. I don't blame him. I mean, I did not plan on going in this show. It's a pain location. We have encountered a absolute psychotic loser who lives in that area who I don't really want to be around. I wouldn't be surprised. He's got no life of his own if he wanted to come and just make his presence felt. And it's the logistics of going there are just to. We had to call the police over this one. It's a long story. It doesn't matter. So, but it's just, and also Kirk's a dick, and I mean I like him, but he, as far as I know, if we go in the VIP section, he's gonna throw me out. He doesn't like me, and he's like open about it. And I like, then why? Why am I doing this? And it's in Laconia, New Hampshire, where I never want to go again in my life. And but Steve from Merrimack has this VIP ticket. Which,
so if you don't have these feelings about the show in Laconia, New Hampshire, let us know and we'll send you Steve's way. Is that the point of where we're going with this? Yes, we'll send you
Steve's way. Exactly. So I'm tempted only because I don't want to leave Steve in the lurch because he's a good guy. But the whole thing, getting up there, paying for whatever and having, I mean, I like hanging out with the Minifans. It's just I'd have to get a hotel really there. I don't want to come back at midnight. I don't want to stay in Laconia, New Hampshire for many reasons. And
okay, well, anyway, we're just trying to let you guys know that Steve from Merrimack has a ticket. Reach out to us and we'll put you in touch with
exactly.
Them.
Please don't let him eat that ticket. So if you guys, I know a bunch of you are Minifans, and if you don't have a ticket,
as are we too, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I would. I truly deserve the title Minifan, but we like the show. So yeah, if you want a ticket, let us know.
Okay.
We'll hook you up.
Which brings us to the beginning of the show now, Alice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to introduce you to a woman who actually I kind of find fairly attractive. This is UConn professor Dr. Sherry Zane, who was just arrested for expensing 19 trips, including 12 to Belfast, 187 travel days, and charging $58,000 and expensing it back. And none of that, but she also charged and expensed a trip for her and all her kids to go to Disney World. So this is the kind of woman, she's girlfriend material as far as I'm concerned. You're not going to be surprised that she is the gender studies department head.
Shocker. Well, if you're the gender studies professor, you got to be thinking somebody's going to catch on to this grift at some point. I better make the most of it while people believe that I actually know something about something.
You're so on to it. This is her.
Some oppress and often kill others. So WHSS faculty are committed to centering the voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in our courses so that we can provide an intersectional framework to examine these issues. So what that means is when you're taking a course in another discipline, you might find that your syllabus heavily focuses the voices of white, cisgender, heterosexual, upper middle class Christian men or scholars, or perhaps maybe your course centers just white women as a voice. Our course, WGSS courses, and the Ethnic Studies Institute courses, what we try to do is decolonize our syllabus. That privilege.
You're right. So original. Everyone else is only featuring white people. You're the only people to decolonize your syllabus and feature intersectional queer voices of color and Indigenous people or whatever the heck she just said. You're right. You're the only ones doing that. No one's thought of that before. No colleges are decentering whiteness and promoting colonized peoples to decolonize their syllabi. That's not happening anywhere at colleges, would you say?
Uh,
This is very original and brave of them, I think.
but getting back to what you say, and that is obviously pathetic. Can you imagine what you're sending?
I'm assuming, I don't know because I can't see her, but I'm assuming, is she a white person?
She is. She's a white woman, a middle-aged white woman who may be on the back nine, but certainly had all of the makings of an attractive person. But yes, so decolonize your syllabus is the thing. And along what you were saying is you're absolutely right. She's paid to work this grift. Of course she's going to steal. Of course she's going to.
Right, her whole job is stealing.
Yes, their whole pitch is stealing. It's like Al Sharpton. Of course he's going to.
She's like, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. I better take a vacation and expense it while they're not paying attention.
It's like Al Sharpton or not Andrea Campbell, but these Andrea whoever we had in the district person who all these people who get indicted for just stealing and Monica Cannon grants. Of course, they're con artists, they're grifters. That's what they do, and so they're busting her for stealing. And I don't get it. By the way, the president of the Connecticut State, essentially state colleges, the chancellor, a dude, he just got busted for stealing $40,000, and he just apologized. And this lady was arrested. Like, what is that? Of course, he makes $400,000 a year and is buddies with the bigwigs in the state. She must have ticked somebody off.
That honestly seems low for that level of job. I think private university professors, I think their salaries are in the millions.
Oh, really?
Not professors, sorry, presidents.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like presidents of like Tufts and Harvard.
But this guy was great because he not only that, but they gave him like $21,000 to move to Connecticut from New York, and he just didn't move. Which that's a me move. I would have just taken the money and just not moved. And they're like, you do live here, right? Yeah, sure. You're not gonna check, right? So I think it's just funny that this is you invite somebody who does this flim flam. Of course they're gonna steal. Like you talked about all these corrupt mayors who they're saying Elon Musk is stealing from the country because that's what they would do.
Yeah,
you run a grift.
They don't. Not only is it what they would do if somebody gave them access to the Department of Treasury, they would just steal straight up. But not only that, they don't know how people get rich other than stealing. So they assume that wealthy people all get there by stealing. Yes. Right? And it's the same like with these decolonizing professors and gender studies, whatever. Sorry, the chat's making me laugh. I'll read the comments in a second, you guys. The thing with these professors is they think the engineering professors and everybody else is similarly just making up their entire field as they go along.
Right.
Because they don't know that there's like fields where people actually know stuff and there's like rigorous work to be done. They think all the fields are just BSing your way into multi-$100,000 a year jobs. Right? Like they don't understand that the like medical school professors actually have to know things to train doctors.
Of course.
They think everything's made up because they don't know, because they literally don't know. They think their field is like rigorous and serious.
Well, yeah.
Right? And it's like, I don't mean to judge, but they just don't know. They lack any context for the level of rigor that's in like real scientific fields, STEM fields, even serious humanities fields, like philosophy and stuff. They don't understand the rigor that goes into like foreign language studies and things. They just don't know. They don't know how much there is to know out in the world because their field is completely made up.
Yes.
And so they think that all fields are like that.
Yes,
and they think they're just as knowledgeable. And the DEI hires who have all these degrees that go on TV and tell us that black women are the most educated demographic in America, which isn't even freaking true, but whatever. They think literally that the made-up degrees that they have are just as good as like people's medical degrees and engineering degrees and like computer science degrees. They think it's like the same thing, and it's not the same thing. No. But they don't even know that there's a world out there of things that are hard that they don't even know about.
Well, yeah, and if you take this woman's class or you take Ibram X. Kendi's class, you're not learning a skill to use in the world. unless you're going to be a pain in the ass DEI HR person.
You're starting to have some hair pop out from the side.
This is the people that did this to me.
So, yeah. Splash says you look like the shrunken head from the waiting room in Beetlejuice.
Not bad. I don't mind that guy.
That is good. Our kid is one of the waiting room people in Beetlejuice in the in a musical, actually.
Yes. He's not shrunken head. He's drunk lawyer or dead lawyer.
No, he's a dead jockey.
He's also dead
He's
lawyer.
in the lawyer's ensemble, but he is a dead jockey is his role. But anyway, off the point. Morgan says he's pretty sure Pepper's been dead for a week lying on the couch.
It is possible.
It's not because she got into the... I mean, she wasn't dead last night because she got into the trash last night. Terry says he decolonized a syllabus once and he couldn't get her to stop calling after. And Splash asked if anything of substance has ever been said after the words intersectional framework.
No, it's such a like you said, you
but
have
Julie
guys,
and Phil say Julie likes the hairstyle.
Thank you.
So there you go.
You have like Ibram X. Kendi he's just a grifter. He made up stuff. He changed his name to make it sound interesting. He's got this long, thoughtful hair like me, and he comes up with these constructs that make zero sense. Or circular arguments are nothing that is at all validates any thought at the end of it and renders any new understanding.
Of course,
it doesn't do anything.
No.
But you're to pay for the grift, and if he's got a thing making $25 million a year in BU, yeah, he's going to take the $25 million. I'm not saying he stole it. I don't know. But these are all just grifts. The 1619 Project, these are all grifters. It's the same way, like, if you asked Buddy Bulger to watch your candy store, he'd agree to it, but he'd be selling things out of it and taking ownership of it, and he'd be dismembering somebody in the basement. It's like, that's what these people do. They're all just complete grifters. I wanted to bring up the idea that just very quickly, and this is another thing, I don't know if we quite talked about this, but the federal government will this is Canada, Juno News, the federal government will discontinue funding a committee created to help Indigenous communities look for unmarked graves at former residential schools at the end of next month. Although the search began in 2021, no bodies have been located. This is after they used a thermal echoing to find...
Right, so they did some imaging of the ground that suggested that at some point in time, maybe the ground had been disturbed, and used that to conclude that a bunch of children had been murdered and buried in mass graves at these schools. They never found any bodies.
Right.
Never. And it's funny because this, like, residential schools, they murdered all the Indigenous children, it was a genocide narrative, now just won't die, which of course was the point of them making up this lie to start with. Now a bunch of people think this is true. They think it's true,
right.
Like they think like smallpox blankets are true or whatever. People just make up these mythologies of things that happened, and they're truly just fake. Yes. Right? Like, this is in somebody's imagination that a bunch of children got taken to residential schools and murdered, right? Like, there were obviously residential schools, and of course, children died in that because a lot of children died of things at that time. So there are graves at some residential schools in both the United States and Canada. Children who died of childhood diseases, of other things, because children died at that time. We're talking about the 19th century primarily, right? So we're talking about a time period when there were deaths of children, and sometimes they got buried at these schools. There was no mass death of children. They were not gassing children at residential schools in Canada or the United States to murder all the Native Americans. They were, and I mean, like, you can disagree about the value of this, but they were trying to provide a helpful and beneficial education to Indigenous children who were not going to get it otherwise. Right? Like, that's what the point of these schools was. And you can say that's like, quote unquote, cultural genocide. Well, but I think we're stretching the definition of genocide a bit far to say that giving somebody an education is cultural genocide.
Well, yeah, and also it's giving somebody a chance to a chance to be a part of the American project. That's what that was.
Of course.
Learn something about the country, about what the belief system is here and how we do things, and be a part of this thriving, because the Stone Age life is not where it's at.
No, and it resulted in death for a lot more people, potentially, than the deaths that did happen at residential schools. I mean, I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that children died at higher rates at residential schools than anywhere else, particularly on Indian reservations during that time period, because there were a lot of deaths on Indian reservations also.
Right.
There's a lot of death on Indian reservations in America right now. Mm-hmm. And it's an embarrassment and a shame to our nation that we continue to let it go on like this when we know that it doesn't have to be this way. But the rates of violence, crime, deaths of despair on Indigenous reservations should be a disgrace to anybody that's involved in any Indian Department of Interior reservation policy. It's a disgrace to our country.
And it tells you, like, in the last 50 years, how much has white Americans' compassion killed people and minimized their chances for success. It's white America's compassion. We're going to make sure, we're going to have a welfare system for people in neighborhoods so that if they come from broken homes, we'll subsidize their lives. And you got subsidized broken home lives from generation to generation. It's like,
of course. Oh, no, we're not going to criminalize homelessness. No. That's mean. That's cruel. Did you see this story I sent us from the Boston Herald today? As crime has reached a 7-year high in downtown Crossing, a place I frequent now, by the way, Boston's mayor, top cop, and prosecutor are blaming congregate drug use from Nass and Cass spillover and plan to focus on treating rather than arresting drug users and dealers. How is this going so far? By the way, she appears to be getting ready to be reelected with a massive percent of the vote. It's like 80-20 or something absurd, the polling for her mayor's race. So people in Boston apparently love this. They apparently love crime, love homelessness, love high or insane or both people ranting at passersby in what downtown Crossing, honestly, there's so much built there now. It could be like a hub of everything that's great. If it were in any other country on earth with all the stores and the activities and the beautiful buildings that have gone up there in recent years and have all sorts of fun, fancy stuff being built in, there's so much there. There's so much there. There's all kinds of brand new food places and stuff. And yet they insist on having the entire place be haunted by psychotic, schizophrenic drug addicts all the time. It's insane. Why? Why do we want this? I don't get it.
Compassion,
we
Alice.
We want them to have treatment options. No, you guys, they have treatment options. We've been providing them with treatment options. We've also been providing them with safe injection sites and shelters and everything else.
Let them shoot up.
They don't lack access to anything. And that's the problem. That's literally the problem. We're compassioning
and it also comes from a place. It comes from a place. They let them shoot up. Let them do it safely.
What's it to you? We let rich people do cocaine. We don't throw them in jail.
Which, by the way, I used to do a lot of deep dive on the safe injection sites.
Mm-hmm.
That recovered addicts say absolutely don't let them shoot up. One of the things that made life for them tough was being rousted all the time.
Right.
And it was one of the ways where you just said F it, or at least went and grabbed a brochure somewhere. But that's much isn't that the same thing? Or is it different for when progressive moms let their daughter's boyfriends sleep over?
That was big in my town when I was
At least you'll do it here. You've got a roof over your head. You're safe. And let them get drunk. At least they're here. Nobody's driving.
Yeah, leave your keys. I'm taking everybody's keys. Nobody drives. Better to do it in a safe environment and learn. It's you just compassion everybody into total destruction and ruination all the time.
Exactly. My kiddo wants to have sex. I'm just going to make sure she's safe. For all the kiddos. No kiddos get to drive home. All right. What's next, Delby? What's next? We got a couple choices here. Okay. Oh yeah. The stock down on Epstein files.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. First of all the influencers at the White House, like, smiling and taking photos and
they're all got free MAGA hats that they're holding, and they have, that is terrible. It's
so cheesy. It's as bad as Biden having all the idiots at the White House. Like, I'm sorry, lame,
totally lame.
And then if you're gonna do that, at least have something in the freaking binders.
And they've got nothing in the binders. Pam Bondi said that she had something. She had absolutely nothing. Guys, I understand that we're all doing these vignettes of F you, in your face, chainsaw. That's going to burn out. This is only entertaining for 1/3 of voting Americans. I'm not offended by any of it, but you're not winning hearts and minds by doing this performative bull bleep. And if you're going to have the Epstein files, give the Epstein files. And now she's saying the Kash Patel, she's asking...
Like New York stopped them from doing stuff?
Right. And...
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like, if you're going to have photo ops, then have something. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know. But I feel like they think they had to do something because they said they were going to do this, and they don't really have anything.
Right.
And, I don't know what the story is. Maybe New York screwed with them and is roadblocking them in some way. But, I mean, yeah, I think the performative aspect of it is lame and annoying.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to... And I don't honestly, mind Elon with the chainsaw. That doesn't bother me so much. Because, first of all, it's, the Malay thing with the chainsaw. That's been a thing for a while.
Alice, and you and I get it.
But also, Elon's actually, cutting stuff. Yeah. So that I like. And that I think a lot of people like. I like the cutting of stuff.
I like the cutting of stuff, but it should be quietly done with nerds down in the sub-basement with M&Ms and Diet Coke. And not him having awkward spectrum, jump cartwheel spastic episodes on stage. It's the wrong look. He shouldn't be the onstage guy if he's doing that. He can be the onstage guy for rockets.
Yeah.
But not when you're cutting. And
If they just cut stuff and let the left overreact to it, they're going to come out looking good. Because every time you look into one of these things that the left tries to make a story like the national park stuff, their hysteria makes them look worse than anything Trump and Elon are doing, right? It's the classic case where Trump does something that, annoys you, where you're face palming and going, why is he doing this?
Right.
Come on, you're embarrassing me. Stop. But then, the left and the media act so much worse that you're like, oh yeah, that's why I like Trump, actually. It's more about them. And it's funny because if you just, and I was annoyed by the influencer stuff, but if I'm just focused on what the left is doing on Twitter and Blue Sky and Facebook and stuff, then I'm in a much better mood. I don't even want to look at what the Trump influencers are doing. I don't want to know that. But so I saw this one person tweet today. I just want to underscore how nuts this is. Nobody voted for this. If President Trump had said during the campaign, what we need to do is get rid of weather forecasting, the public would have said that was crazy. So I was like, what is this tweet about? What does he mean, get rid of weather? Is Trump getting rid of weather forecast? I'm in the weeds at work, and I have not looked at the news, and I'm like, Trump's getting rid of weather forecasting? He's making it illegal? How does the president get rid of weather forecasting?
Yes, correct.
So I looked at what he retweeted, and it turns out that Doge fired a probationary employee at the National Weather Service.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Or didn't hire permanently a probationary.
So if you go there now and you put in your zip code, it's just 404 error. We don't know.
So this guy tweeted, and I feel bad for him personally. Being out of work sucks, but I don't know. This one dude with 400 followers tweeted, I never thought I'd be in this position, but I was unexpectedly terminated from my job as an NWS meteorologist. This isn't just about me. This impacts the future of weather forecasting. After over a year as a meteorologist in the National Weather Service in Anchorage, Alaska, I was recently terminated due to the federal hiring freeze. So that sentence already is absurd. I was terminated due to the hiring freeze. Of course, that means he wasn't really a real employee to start with. My conversion was submitted on time, but because of the freeze, it was never processed, leaving me and many others across the government unexpectedly out of a job. The NWS plays a vital role not just in protecting lives and property, but in the entire field of meteorology. Its forecast, research, and data serve as the backbone for weather prediction across the country, supporting agriculture, emergency management, and countless other sectors. I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Supporting not only government operations, but also private industry, aviation, agriculture, emergency management, countless other sectors. This one dude, without him, it's all over.
He's like the locksmith of the weather service.
Private meteorological companies, broadcasters, businesses all rely on the data and expertise provided by the NWS and the NOAA. Especially this one dude in Alaska who was a probationary employee who didn't work there 2 years ago. How did we do it before he was there?
Oh, I wanted to say...
I mean, like, honestly, this type of overreaction does nobody any favors. Like I say, I feel bad for the one dude who's out of work, but, like, I think places hire for weather forecasting all over the country. Do they not?
Yeah.
Like, Godspeed, sir.
I think we'll be fine. Think we'll be fine.
It's the end of weather forecasting in America. And then this other person tweeted, this made me laugh too.
I wonder if they'll performatively take away the feels like temp from us. No, we can't do that anymore. Cuts.
Crooked News from Crooked Media.
You're going to have no way to know what it feels like.
Tweets out this. This slayed me. Is Elon Musk trying to ruin the great outdoors?
Oh, my goodness.
Sure looks like it, given what's going on at the National Park Service.
Oh, that's the key master, yeah.
If there's one thing everyone can agree on, it's that the U.S. has some pretty spectacular nature. Who doesn't love a hike through the redwood forest? First buddy Elon Musk, apparently.
He's getting rid of the redwood forest?
Mm-hmm.
And the
There's
trees?
going to be no more redwood forest.
Oh.
In recent weeks, the so-called Department of Government Efficiency fired some 1,000 National Park Service employees and 700 accepted Doge's offer to resign. The administration is now allowing the National Park Service to hire open positions, but park leaders doubt they'll be able to fill spots before the busy season. Some who were fired included those doing legally required compliance work in the Grand Canyon to replace a pipeline that keeps breaking, an employee told What a Day at Crooked Media. It's likely to delay the contractor's work, which could cost $64,000 every single day.
My goodness.
So Elon Musk has ruined all the nature in America.
Redwood trees, gone. We won't know what the weather's going to be like in the redwood tree forest now because the weather has been
canceled. The Grand Canyon, gone. He's like completely, it's gone. You can't see it anymore. It's not there. Elon Musk ruined it. First buddy Elon Musk, sorry.
We talked about it yesterday a little bit, but I just want to the Jake Tapper stuff where he's writing this book called Original Sin about how Biden covered up the fact that he wasn't well. Meanwhile, Jake Tapper was there the whole time yelling at you and sending you angry DMs if you dared say that Biden's mind was gone. But listen how he sets up the promo for his book.
We've challenged Democrats and White House officials about it, but Alex Thompson of Axios and I have spent the last several months talking to more than 200 insiders and officials and donors and activists, more willing to talk post-election, of course, to explain the last couple of years in politics and how we as a nation got here with never-before-heard stories from behind the scenes. You will not believe what was really going on. You can pre-order the book.
So what happened is that Jake Tapper has broken the story of Joe Biden having lost his mind.
A year too late.
A year too late. And really, 5 years too late. But he's now acting like explosive new book. Joe Biden's mind wasn't there.
And people knew, covered it up.
And now he's got all the people saying it. It's like, yeah. By the way, Jake, the guy stepped down from running from the nomination of the party and quit the presidency, essentially. Jake, we realize. Oh, no, you don't realize. There were factors behind it. His mind was going. They lied to us. It's amazing.
When Fauci comes out and writes a book about the groundbreaking lab leak theory and how it turns out that there was a total cover-up of the leak at this lab, that will be the same thing.
Well, yes, that would be the same exact thing. And this will decide Tapper's legacy. If he actually does a book with a straight face like this, then he'll be forever exposed as a total donkey. Just a total donkey. We all of us knew. He chided us. He badgered everybody. It's like, I love it.
By the way, not everybody now acknowledges that Joe Biden's mind was gone. Did you see the Karine Jean-Pierre cut that I sent us?
I see.
And one of her
somewhere.
being interviewed at the thing, and I think it's the same thing that like Decolonize
I love how
was at.
she's leaning like with a little tilt of attitude.
I look personally. I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me. What was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was...
They did it because he was surrounded by dumbasses like you. Who have...
To be fair, to Karine Jean-Pierre, Joe Biden might have seemed like a fully functioning, really smart person who was very on top of all the facts.
Well, yeah.
To her, compared to like her mental capacity, he seemed like fully functional. So
hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most.
So the problem is that it took the firing squad 6 years.
yeah,
The firing squad should have told him in 2019, "You're not running, dude. You can't do this.
yeah.
You're gone. You're done." But they didn't.
And but the issue even then, like, it wasn't that they didn't know.
Of course.
They knew. They just thought they could hide it for long enough. What the debate
Right.
changed for people, it didn't change what insiders knew about Biden's
No.
mental capacity because they'd been working with him. They absolutely knew. What it changed for them was that it was too obvious to hide from too many of the American people anymore. I mean, you have the Harry Sissons of the world who are still
He did.
claiming that he did awesome in the debate or whatever, but he was, and I almost sometimes, like, when I see this, or who's the other one, Donilon, who was at the same event that she was at, saying
Right.
that he definitely should have run and that he would have won, and he can't believe that the party kicked him out and whatever. Like, it makes me wish that he would have won just so that Trump could have won like 49 states
Yes.
and like seen it happen, because Kamala Harris did a freaking terrible job, but Biden would have lost that race. Like, I
Right.
mean, Kamala Harris gave people something who didn't want to vote for Trump, something to grab onto, that they could like pretend there was something there to vote for. She gave them enough of an excuse that they could sort of like justify to themselves that they were doing it. The problem with the Biden debate with Trump was that it exposed too badly so that like people couldn't justify voting for this guy. Like, you couldn't, it was too embarrassing publicly for everyone that they couldn't cover it up anymore, right? Like, that was the problem.
Well, right.
Kamala's a dummy, and she was stupid, and she ran a terrible campaign that wasted a bleep load of money. But there was, like, enough there that people could kind of say, like, oh, I'm voting for, she's really great, she's very qualified and smart. There's, like, something you can vote for there.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you vote for Biden after that debate, you're, like, I mean, what?
Well, yeah.
How do you feel about yourself as a person if after that debate they keep Biden in and he keeps being embarrassing like that, and like you
Yeah, it was
and you
increasingly
vote
bad.
for him? Like, how do you justify that to yourself and like other people around you?
Yeah, and also remember, this is it was evident in 2019 when he was trying to get the Democratic nomination.
Mm-hmm.
When they had those debates, it was already evident then in 2020 when the Democrats were having debates that his mind was gone. He wouldn't take his whole time during debates. He would say, "Well, I probably shouldn't." Or, "No, I'll just, yeah, that's good."
He was
and well,
different.
hold on, and so it was evident that his mind was already gone. The stares he had didn't make any sense. He had no reaction to attacks. He didn't know how to absorb them and respond. And he wouldn't have had a chance. The only thing that really helped him in those debates is that the other 11 Democrats decided to answer every question in Spanish. Like Beto O'Rourke was speaking in
Well, they all dropped out at Super Tuesday, right? Because
Right.
they got deals for cabinet positions and stuff, like Buttigieg and whatever. And they all dropped out. They gave him the nomination. Their party was organized. But he was even different. He was different between the primary debates in 2019 and the debates with Trump in 2020.
Yes.
It was very clear that there was a very rapid decline and change. Right? Like, even just in that time period. And if anyone cared, they could have asked questions. Then they could have asked questions during his presidency when he wasn't running for anything in the first couple of years. But they spent too much time repeating the White House line that we were all deceptively editing videos and making things up and gaslighting them.
Cheap fakes.
And
They couldn't keep up with them.
right, the cheap fakes. So I mean, we all see what happened here, but it's like for people like Karine Jean-Pierre to go out here now and be like, I can't believe the party stabbed him in the back. It was a firing squad. It's crazy.
Well,
Nobody's
yeah.
ever done this to a president. He would have won if he'd stayed in. You can't prove a counterfactual, so that's fine, like, I guess.
But it's that final lurch of to do with the media. That final lurch of going just over and above and losing all the tethers they had to any kind of sober thinking is when the Washington Post reported, and all the left media repeated, that Trump had lied like 20,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's said 20,000 lies. And so, do you remember the Post article on how many times Joe Biden lied? Nope. Wasn't one. So all the media used that. They quoted it to each other. The Washington Post has reported he lied 26,000 times. And you didn't do one for Joe Biden? You didn't want to do one for Kamala? You've only done one in the political capital of the world. Washington, D.C. was full of mobily upward wannabe stars and political stars, and lawyers and politicians. The only lie story they ever did was when the one guy who's not a lawyer and who's in The Outsider comes in. And I think people look at that and they say, after years of Joe Rogan, and they say, after watching the Biden administration lie about Afghanistan and lie about the student loan things and lie about the Border Patrol, whipping Haitians.
Strapping Haitians.
You're like, oh, wait, are you guys are these getting tabulated as lies yet? Normal people saw this and they're not tabulated as lies? Okay. Well, then I'm starting to think that maybe you guys suck, and I'm going to get my news from Tim Dillon. All right, now should we go to the chat?
I guess we go to the chat.
Trump, by the way, is still the most comfortable man in the world.
Do you think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
Oh, the chat, by the way, still emaciated chat. I have a hypothesis on this.
All right.
I'm thinking that recently it was so good and so full and so great
People felt like they weren't needed.
that it hit a crescendo. I think it hit a crescendo. And I think that, you know where the crescendo, I think, was?
Where?
What's the most unforeseen thing that happened in the chat? That was unbelievable piece of content?
Jennifer?
Yes. I think that just blew it up. And so, that is such a cliffhanger. That is such a... It's made the competition very tough in there. Very tough. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
I didn't realize I had my own forum on here.
You do?
Tom, have you ever bought those crispy chocolate chip cookies at Market Basket?
Sea salt? GD right I have, dude. GD right. The best tasting freaking chocolate chip cookie on the face of the earth. And it's also the thing that makes me most regret that I have 5 kids. because there's only about 7 cookies in the little plastic see-through aquarium that they live in. The best freaking things in the world. They do sometimes hit the rotten section.
In the bakery.
Damn straight.
Man, them are good.
Yes, they are.
So good.
Oh.
They kind of remind me.
Also,
Toast has made us chocolate chip cookies that are similar to those that have the salt on them.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah, Toast is great.
Toast is a great cook.
Oh, we
great
didn't
children's
plug the
book author.
Alice. We gotta bring the book and plug it correctly. And do an
Okay,
interview.
on Sunday.
We'll can an interview with Toast.
Let's talk to Toast on Sunday.
Perfect.
I wanted to talk local politics. Do you think anybody with deep pockets is going to step up to try to get as many Republicans elected in the next cycle? Because taxing soda and prescriptions and everything else to pay for illegals, that's probably not a winning message. But with 67% independents registered in this state, a majority of which are Democrats, it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of billboards to try to sway that. And also, I did see that photo of your hair, Tom, and you know, I've seen footage of the Danvers State Mental Hospital when it was at full capacity from the 40s. And I think he would have fit right in as a patient there with that kind of haircut.
Where's the photo? I didn't see a photo. Is there a photo?
I don't know. Did I put up the show?
I don't know. Yeah, Dr. Cheswick. The only thing I know is I've heard that Charlie Baker is polling well against Liz Warren, maybe. That's it. And I guess he could feasibly win there. It's funny.
He's too busy trying to get boys to play in girls' sports at the NCAA right now.
It's very funny because this state politics is an Alice Shattuck thing. And there are people, I'm getting a lot of heat in Connecticut for not being like state politics enough. Mm-hmm. Like ward races and this and that, and what the Ways and Means Committee is doing. And they're absolutely right. And I never was with Massachusetts either. Like the thing about who's pulling papers in District 5, that's not my passion. It's not. I would rather have a neighbor's. I would rather talk about a local neighbor dispute, or the idea that a town won't let somebody drain the wetlands. I'd rather talk about those issues. Pulling papers, water rates, and I do talk about them somewhat. Those are not. That's an Alice Shattuck thing, and zoning, and that is, and that's once again for you guys listening from Connecticut.
Zoning's kind of cool,
but so like now in Connecticut, I do bring on some Republicans, a congressman, a state rep, and a state senator, mm-hmm. to talk about those things and bring them whatever. But I would never talk about it if they weren't there. And it's some people in Connecticut who are mad at me say, oh, it's because he's not from there. No, I'm from Massachusetts and I don't do it there either. I can't have a conversation about the Appropriations Committee. That's not me. That's somebody else. And I'm sure they're available to listen to it, but that's not me. So that's what Dr. Cheswick, when you ask, it's like, I am local politics guy I would rather talk about real human local issues all day and night. I would rather talk about the top 10 things that every community Facebook page says in Connecticut and Massachusetts. Real disputes, cultural things that are happening. Mm-hmm. That's where I am. Where the provision to prevent students learning about sex by describing what kind of pizza they want, where that motion is sitting in the Capitol Hill or in the state capitol in Connecticut, and what committees it has to get through. I'd rather hang myself than talk about where the bill is. That's not me. That's somebody else. But the idea that kids are learning about how to have sex by saying what pizza toppings they want to have on, that I'll talk about all day long. That's it. That's Tom Shattuck. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Alice. There you go.
You are what you are. We love you for it.
What do you mean I am what I am? I'm not a political
Isn't that what Hillary
committee...
Chabot said about you?
Well, yeah, that's true. And
it's
it's funny because that reminds me that is a Hillary thing. She wants to know what the Ways and Means Committee is doing and who's now the minority leader in the Appropriations Committee and what the Capital Interest Committee is doing and what the committee they want to know.
Mark in the chat says he likes zoning too.
Oh,
zoning is where all the battles of the world are fought.
But that makes sense, and that's why that would be a good thing for him to talk about, because he's a journalist, a local journalist. And that's anytime I've heard people talk about that with interest. There's this other show I listen to in Connecticut where the woman has all these local Pauls on to talk about it, and it's never going at them, never just letting them get away with it. Yeah, it's workmanlike, and you're going to get information. That's not me. That's not me. Right. I'm sorry about that. I mean, but I'm not sorry about that. I'm not going to bore the out of myself to hit these things.
Hey, Tom and Alice. It's Carrie from Winchester.
Here we go.
Hey, Carrie.
I just wanted to say that I think it's hilarious that every single time Tom says et cetera now, he says et cetera, and acknowledges it. That is all.
That's
Goodbye.
the first step on the road to recovery.
That is some Italian jerk from New Jersey has now given me a double verbal tick. I've now got a complex.
No, but that's the key, is to notice when you say it, and then you can adjust your behavior. It's
But
like how I say like too much. I have to notice when I say like to be able to stop it. I have to notice myself saying like.
Yes, but Alice, like has no place in a sentence. Etc. is being useful to me. It means and so on. In other things. In other things. Other things.
Technically, it does mean and other things. That's literally what et cetera.
Well, there you go. So there you go. I'm speaking Latin because you guys can't grasp it.
True.
Yeah, well,
As an Italian, Montante should appreciate that
this
more.
ponytail next week, Alice, purple. You guys want to play? Let's play. I intended for the music to come on shortly after I said that. Certainly right after I threw down there.
Doesn't have the same impact when you have a delay.
Damn it.
Anyway, thank you all so much. Thank you, Carrie from Winchester, for the chat message. Thank you, Dr. Cheswick. Thank you, everyone who leaves chat messages normally.
Carrie from Winchester, who lives in an area very familiar to me and Jimmy. I told her husband what that part of town was called when I was growing up. It contains a slur.
Oh, I know the part.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That was down the street from where the deli was, where you could get good food. Where I learned at the deli that Rod Stewart and Mick Jagger had sex. I was shocked. There you go.
All the important information in
Oh,
life.
by the way, I think there's a True Value Hardware there. Yeah, there is. That we used to go to on Swanton Street in Winchester that sells Sachem stuff. So I say go to that hardware store on Swanton Street in Winchester and buy their Sachem stuff.
Thank you for the chat messages. Go to burnbarrelpodcast.com if you want to leave those. There's a red button. You can leave a message. We could play it on the show. If you want to join the live chat every day, patreon.com/burnbarrel.
By the way, Taylor Rental. There's a Taylor Rental on Swanton Street. Have you ever been inside a Taylor Rental?
What is that? Is that where you like rent event furniture and stuff like that?
Furniture, you could rent a big cake maker or like odd stuff you wouldn't have, like industrial fans. You know?
All right.
They're all the same. They're all from 1953. They all have big glass windows. They're wholly
Mark
inefficient.
in the chat says he thought it was Mick Jagger and David Bowie. I think that too. I've heard
you might
that.
be right. Rod Stewart's in there somewhere too. I think you might be right, Omar. But there's a Taylor Rental there. I have a new hypothesis house.
Okay.
The Taylor Rental is funded by USAID. They're not really. It's just what they are.
I think they rent things.
What they are is CIA annexes in every town.
I think they let people rent things is mostly what they do. But have a great weekend.